Hello everyone! With the arrival of Christmas and the end of the year, I didn't have time to work in a new video. However, a few days ago, the game Troy, a Total War saga, received a DLC which allows us to play with Memnon, King of Ethiopia, and Egyptian units. So I decided to make a quick video, talking about this mythological character, the DLC, and analyzing if it is possible that Egyptian soldiers participate in the Trojan War. A little background. I first met Total War in my teens, when someone installed a pirate version of Rome on my school computer. What a strange coincidence. I was already a fan of strategy games, but Rome blew my mind. I mean, look at this. Look at this. True armies in your command, true formations. It was so epic. And thanks to mods like Europa Barbarorum and Third Age Total War, I spent endless hours playing Rome and Medieval too. I also play a lot Napoleon Total War, and even though I arrived late to the party, I loved Shogun 2. But with the disastrous release of Rome 2, I lost interest in the new Total War games. After some years, I gave Attila a chance, and even a second chance to Rome 2. But these new titles did not have the same magic as the old ones. I was completely indifferent to Three Kingdoms, and since CA seemed to only want to make new Warhammer games, which I don't care either, Total War no longer was a franchise for me. And then they announced Troy. And by the gods, I was hyped. Those who have seen this video remember that the Iliad is my favorite book after The Lord of the Rings, and this game was a childhood dream becoming true. Yeah, I was a little disappointed that this wasn't a Bronze Age Total War that I have dreamed for a long time, but being able to control Odysseus, Hector, and my favorite characters from one of the most epic and important poems in history was enough. And yes, I know, this game is far from perfect. The game is overpriced, it lacks a lot of mechanics and features from other Total Wars. Seriously, why this game did not have speeches? Did you ever read the Iliad? There are more speeches than battles in this book, but nevertheless, I love this game. The battles are fun, the sound design is amazing, and I have hope that one day modders will make this game even more epic. And finally, we have come to the new DLC, where, if you play with Memnon, you can control Egyptian armies, and also Canaanites, Nubians, and Babylonians. And, well, here is the first problem with this DLC. The Terminator a great YouTuber who makes Total War videos, have said that it is a little insulting to those who want a historic Bronze Age Total War, that all those civilizations and cultures were reduced to one single faction. And I agree, it would have been so much better that Troy had offered us new maps, new regions, new civilizations. However, let's be honest, it's extremely unlikely that we will ever have a Total War set in the Bronze Age in a near future. This DLC is to me a little consolation. Yes, I would have preferred to have more, but it's better to have a little than nothing. Another problem I have is that we don't have new Egyptian mythical units, and Memnon apparently forgot his ancestral gods to worship the Olympians. On one hand, I can understand. In the Iliad and the Odyssey, Homer tells us that the Greek gods often visit the Kingdom of Memnon, and according to the mentality of the time, the Egyptian gods were only the Greek gods with other names. And yes, this is a game about the Trojan War, inspired by the Iliad. But at the same time, I would be happy if they have only changed the names and the portraits. With all these flaws, you must think that I hated this DLC. But it's not the case. Like I said before, this game for me is a dream becoming true. And I know, it's not everyone's dream, but it's mine. And for that, I'm giving Troy 4 out of 5 happy pharaohs. And the DLC, 3 of 5. Now, let's talk about history. Contrary to what CA is saying, Memnon is not a character of the Iliad, although is mentioned quickly in the Odyssey. Memnon was one of the main characters in 2 poems of the epic cycle that unfortunately were lost, the Memnoid and the Aeotypis. According to them, Memnon was a son of the Titanid Eos and Titan, brother of Priam, king of Troy. Unfortunately, we don't know how he became king of Ethiopia. But once the Trojan War started, he gathered his troops to help his uncle. Alas, as his kingdom was very far away, he only managed to arrive after the death of Hector, at the end of the conflict. Nevertheless, Memnon fought with bravery and protected the people of Troy. Legend tells us that he was as brave and strong as Achilles himself. And it was the son of Thetis that challenged him into a duel in front of Zeus himself. They yelled as thunder and fought like lions, but in the end, Memnon was slaughtered. And this is how the last hope of Troy fell. But Zeus, impressed by the bravery of Memnon, and saddened by the despair of his mother, decided that the king of Ethiopia should rise again and live in Mount Olympus among the Eternals. Memnon is a mythological figure, and even though Ethiopia exists, this country is not the same as the one ruled by the son of Eos. It should be understood that the Greeks had almost no idea what the world looked like beyond the Aegean Sea. The Kingdom of Memnon is sometimes described in the heart of Africa, or beyond Babylonia. The only geographical indication that the Greeks had offered us is that Ethiopia is a kingdom very, very distant. But if you assume that Memnon was the king of an African kingdom south of Egypt, then he would be the monarch of the Kingdom of Kush, sometimes called Napata. Visual representations of Memnon do not help us to know from where he came from. He is always portrayed as a Greek man, which is to be expected, as most artists of this time have never seen a black man in their lives. A priori, this seems improbable. Even if, during the New Kingdom, Egypt was a military empire, it did not have the naval means to invade the Aegean Sea. And even if it was possible, why a king of Egypt would like to invade the Mycenaean world? Well, maybe there is a reason. If you assume that the Trojan War took place around this time, Egypt was under the rule of Ramses III. Even though Egyptian civilization was not so powerful as it was during the time of Ramses II, its influence was still great. And more important, Egypt had signed a treaty of peace and alliance with the Hittite Empire, where both sides promised to help the other in the event of an invasion. If we look at a map of the Hittite Empire, we can see that the supposed location of Troy is just outside. It is possible that during the Mycenaean invasion, the Hittites decided to help Troy to keep control of such an important economic region, and they requested the help of the Egyptians, as Ramses II promised long ago. However, a few years earlier, the Egyptian army was almost crushed by the peoples of the sea who tried to invade the delta. Ramses III could not engage his troops, but he could send the army of a vassal kingdom, the Kingdom of Kush. Am I saying that this is how the Trojan War unfolded and the Egyptians really participated? Nope. Nope. This is just an exercise in imagination, but a fun one. And although Egyptologists normally don't like to admit it, the study of Egyptian history often begins in the imagination. In short, I hope you liked this slightly different video. Happy holidays for everyone, and see you next year.